news on Atlantic Television Network. First, the headlines. APC wins election in Brutu North constituency in Delta State. Court indicts lawyer over alleged 91 million land fraud in Enugu. Sarab advises Tinubu to investigate missing 3.4 billion IMF loan. NNPCL gives 36 oil blocks to IOCs over concession. Senegal president postponed presidential election indefinitely. Singer KC accuses Harrison of defrauding clients. 5 teams qualify for Youth League playoffs.
Every day, our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics.
Nobody's ambition is what's the blood.
From the line across the ocean to
with us on the global news tonight. Here is our bulletin in full. The Independent National Electoral Commission returning officer Arnold Adimabua Osugo has declared Honorable Ebiton Mo Anthony Alapala winner of the rerun election in the Burutu North constituency in Delta State. Osugo in the election result sheet certified that Alapala of the All Progressive Congress polled 7,728 votes, while his closest rival, Honorable Asupa Foteta of the People's Democratic Party, garnered 6,616 votes. INEC's head of publicity and enlightenment sent a copy of the election results via WhatsApp, adding that the rerun election for Ethiopia West constituency is being transmitted to the office in Asaba, and also promised to forward the Ethiopia West results when once received as at the time of filing this report. The Independent National Electoral Commission has declared the candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Atigwe Simon, as the winner of the rerun election for the Udenu Iweze North Federal Constituency of Enugu State. INEC returning officer Professor Nwachukwu J. Obiako from Nnamdi University, Awka, declared the results of the controversial poll. The election was characterized by missing result sheet and declaration of the results of the election in an undisclosed location. He, however, declared that the election was peaceful, free, and fair. This is coming after the voters protested against the election following the replacement of the regional result sheets meant for the conduct of the by-elections by the resident electoral commissioner of the Independent National Electoral Commission in the state, Dr. Chukwuemeka Chukwu. Eyewitness said hundreds of supporters of the Labour Party in the state had on Saturday morning protested, demanding that the result sheet be provided before the commencement of the election at the Robinson Street, Uwani, Enugu State, for the Enugu South Urban State constituency, while the REC, Dr. Chukwuemeka Chukwu, came and addressed the agents of the various political parties that the original result sheets had been lost and that he had provided an alternative. The Federal High Court sitting in Independence Layout in Enugu State, presided over by Justice Mohammed Garba Omar, has ordered Mike Ikebunam, a lawyer, to deposit his court-to-bar certificate with the court over a money laundering fraud charges he is involved in to the tune of 91 million naira. The lawyer, who was arraigned by the Enugu Zonal Command of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, said he was remanded in EFCC custody pending when he meets his bail condition with 7-count charges bordering on money laundering and obtaining money by pretense. He pleaded not guilty when the charges were read to him, and in view of his plea, counsel to the EFCC, Nuruddin Shehu Ingawa, prayed the court for a trial date and for the defendant to be remanded at the correctional center. The defense counsel, A.G. Anyigo, prayed the court to admit his client to bail, adding that the defendant is a very responsible personality in the society. Responding, Ngawa vehemently opposed the bail application based on the gravity of the offense and urged the court to dismiss the bail application. In his ruling, Justice Umar granted the defendant's bail on self-recognizance, being a legal practitioner on the following conditions, adding that the defendant must deposit his court-to-bar certificate with the court and make available one surety, who must be his cousin. The defendant was remanded at EFCC custody pending the fulfillment of the bail conditions, while the judge adjourned the matter to March 24, 2024 for trial. Lagos State Police Command from the Okokomaiko Division has intercepted a Volkswagen LT bus loaded with 70 cartons of expired drugs and arrested 2 suspects. A statement by the command's public relations officer Benjamin Hondeyin on his ex-handle said the discovery was made at the Afro Media, where the officer stopped the suspicious vehicle for a search and found 70 cartons of feed fine pyrophetadine caplets, 4 grams, which all had an expiry date of 2016. According to the confession of the 2 occupants in the bus, they were transporting the expired drugs to an individual in Alaba to change the expiry date, after which the drugs would be taken to Port Harcourt for sale. According to the statement, the 2 occupants of the vehicle, Augustine Egemoye, male, age 60, and Innocent Eremoshele, male, aged 35, confessed they were taking the expired drugs to somebody in Alaba who would change the expiry date and thereafter proceeded with the drugs to Port Harcourt to be sold. Ekiti State Governor Biodun Oyebanji has assured the parents and families of kidnapped pupils and staff of the Apostolic Faith Group of Schools Emure Ekiti that they would soon be rescued to rejoin them. Oyebanji promised that efforts were in top gear to secure the release of the abductees safely and plans to apprehend the perpetrators to face the law. This is coming after gunmen had on Monday attacked a bus conveying the school children and staff from school back to their homes at Eporo, and weeks 9 among the occupants away to an unknown destination in the forest. The senior special assistant to the governor's special interest groups, Princess Toyin Agbaje Malomo, who disclosed this to parents and families of the abductees who gathered in Emure Ekiti on the expectation of the safe return of their beloved ones. 15 of the All Progressive Congress in Osun State, Olatun Bosun Oyintoleye, has urged Nigerians to support President Bola Tinubu in the fight against insecurity in the country and stop negative criticisms that can distract him. He disclosed this in Osogbo, the state capital, while explaining the rate of insecurity in the country that has become alarming, adding that the developments called for a sober reflection. While condemning the recent killings, banditry, terrorism, kidnapping, and other criminalities across the country, he said there was no doubt that the president was doing everything humanly possible to restore peace to the country. Kwara State chapter of the People's Democratic Party has condemned the gruesome killing of a revered traditional ruler and retired Army General Obashegun Aremudi Olukoro of Koro in Ekiti local government area of the state, and the abduction of his wife and 2 family members by a non-gunman. A statement released by Mr. Olusegun Olushola Adewara, the publicity secretary of the party, expressed deep concern over the escalating insecurity in Kwara communities, noting that the state is gradually sloughing its peaceful status to a volatile state. The PDP queried where the huge security vote of the state was being spent and advised Governor Abdurrahman Abdul Razak in the interest of the state to immediately stop for experienced security experts that can help provide strategies capable of bringing this ugly incident to a halt. The Ogun State Traffic Compliance and Enforcement Corps says 192 persons died, while 129 sustained injuries in various accidents recorded in 2023 in the state. The spokesperson for Trace, Mr. Babatunde Akinbiyi, who disclosed this in Abeokuta, explained that from the deaths recorded, 146 were male, while 46 were female from 630 accident cases recorded in the year, adding that the figures were from areas covered by Trace and the police joint rescue efforts and servicing. He also said the accident cases involved 361 cars, 114 buses, 446 articulated vehicles, 58 motorcycles, 9 tricycles, and 34 pedestrians in 2023, and explained that the most common cause of road traffic crashes in the state was speeding, which could be attributed to 32% of such crashes. He explained the creation of Trace Corps rescue patrol teams along the state corridors, as well as the establishment of state emergency rescue services centers and constant clearing of obstructions on the road to reduce accidents. The Commissioner of Police, Federal Capital Territory, Beneath Igwe, has ordered a clampdown on vehicles without number plates or with a single number plate applying the FCT road. He disclosed this when he met with members of the management team, leaders of all tactical units and heads of departments of the FCT Police Command, comprising area commanders and divisional police officers, and tasked the heads of the tactical units to identify black spots and possible kidnappers' dens in the territory and ensure they took the fight to them. The FCT Police Public Relations Officer, SP Josephine Ade, said investigations are ongoing. The Federal Capital Territory Commissioner of Police, Mr. Bennett Igwe, has urged area commanders and divisional officers to adopt effective community partnership in policing the FCT. In a statement by the command spokesperson, SP Josephine Ade, in Abuja, the commissioner spoke during the meeting with the management team, leaders of all tactical units and heads of departments of the police command in the FCT, including area commanders and DPOs, that the meeting was aimed at revamping the approach of the already existing security framework and to set in motion as well as a plan to ensure safety of FCT residents. He called on the senior police officers to embrace intelligence and visibility policing through constant stop and search operations to win the fight against criminality, and cautioned that he would not tolerate laxity and urged the heads of tactical units to identify black spots, possible kidnappers then, and take the fight to them. The commissioner ordered total clampdown of vehicles without number plates or with a single number plate plying the FCT roads, and pledged the readiness of the command to combat criminality in the FCT, and called on residents to collaborate with the police in the fight against crime. They will also urge residents to avoid boarding vehicles along the road and unapproved parks. Suspected thugs, political thugs, have allegedly mobbed one person to death for ballot box snatching in Rigachikun in Igabi local government area of Kaduna State. Eyewitness said the victim, Mansour Shafi, was killed by suspected political thugs in an effort to prevent ballot box snatching. The spokesman of the Kaduna State Police Command, ASP Mansur Hassan, who confirmed the incident, said suspected political thugs who snatched election materials at the Sohon Garin Rigachikun polling unit shot the victim in the leg shot the victim in the leg by suspected political thugs, and thereafter being rushed to the hospital, he died. Mansour was a graduate of sociology from the Kaduna State University, and the incident had sparked protests as youth from Rigachikun barricaded the Zaria-Rigachikun highway, which led to gridlock, forcing motorists to be stranded. But the mercy was restored after the military intervened. In his reaction, the winner of the Igaba Federal Constituency by-election and candidate of the PDP, Hussaini Jalo, described the death of the 40-year-old Mansour as unfortunate and vowed to ensure that the perpetrators of the heinous crime were not allowed to go unpunished, while paying a glowing tribute to his supporter, who he said was out to exercise his civic responsibility when he met his untimely death. The Katsina State government has ordered security operatives to rescue 60 wedding guests who were kidnapped by gunmen in Damari town in the state. Eyewitness said the 60 wedding guests, who were believed to be escorting a bride home, were kidnapped by a terrorist gang in the Sabua local government area of Katsina State. The State Internal Security Commissioner Muazu Nasiru, who spoke through his spokesman Tukor Ali, said the government was aware of the kidnap of wedding guests and had launched operations to ensure that the victims were rescued. The State Police Public Relations Officer Abubakar Aliyu stated that 35 women were abducted by suspected armed bandits, while the criminals reportedly killed a commercial motorcycle rider and made away with his bike. This is coming after unsuspected armed bandits has allegedly abducted the newly wedded bride and her companion. The Independent National Electoral Commission has declared the candidate of the All Progressive Congress, Musa Mustafa, as the winner of the Yobe East senatorial by-election, which was held on Saturday. The returning officer of INEC, Professor Ibrahim Ahmed Jajare, said in the Maturu Sunday, Mustafa scored 68,778 to defeat Aji Kolomi of the People's Democratic Party, who got 18,878 votes. Professor Jajere declared that Honorable Musa Mustafa of the All Progressive Congress, having scored the highest number of votes cast and having satisfied the requirements of the law, has been declared the winner of the Yobe East by-election. Suspected explosion allegedly caused by an improvised explosive device has destroyed a high-tension electric transmission pole situated in the Onguwan Kanawa area near Federal Polytechnic, Bauchi. The explosion was allegedly caused by yet-to-be-identified persons who used explosives to vandalize government property, but there was no human casualty and a high-tension pole of the electricity transmission line was destroyed. The Police Public Relations Officer, Bauchi State Commander Ahmed Wakil, said in the statement entitled Destruction of Public Property by Suspected Vandals, Wakil said the Chief Security Officer of the Federal Polytechnic, Bauchi, who reported the incident to the police, stated that a loud sound was heard around the Ongwan Kanawa area and some remnant components of improvised explosive devices were recovered from the scene. According to him, the State Commissioner of Police, Awal Mohammed, who condemned the act, ordered a discreet and full-scale investigation into the incident to ensure that the perpetrators were arrested and brought to justice, while the CP charged the people of the state to help the police with useful information that will aid investigations and equally urged them not to panic as a result of the incident, but to go about their lawful businesses as the situation has been put under control. Candidate of All Progressive Congress, Lawan Pogu, has been declared winner of the Saturday House of Assembly by-election for Chibok constituency in Borno State. Returning officer Professor Baba Kiari Waziri said Pogu scored 9,101 votes to defeat his closest opponent of the People's Democratic Party, Abila Bello, who got 2,117 votes, while other candidates are Abdullahi Gambor of Africa Democratic Congress, who scored 69 votes, Hamid Zamzam of Action Democratic Party, 63 votes, and Maina Sharif of Social Democratic Party, 12 votes. Abdullahi Lawan of Allied People's Movement scored 48 votes, and Haruna Shatima of Action People's Party got 17 votes, while the Chibok by-election took place following the death of the initial winner of the 2023 election, Nuhu Clark. The Independent National Electoral Commission has suspended the electoral officer for Just North Local Government Area, Fred Oboji, over missing ballot papers in Saturday's round election. A statement by the State Head of Department of Electoral Operations, Mr. Issa Idako, on behalf of the Resident Electoral Commissioner in Jos, directed the electoral officer to step aside to give room for proper investigation. This is coming after INEC on Saturday rescheduled election in 16 polling units of Just North Basa Federal Constituency following the discovery of some ballot papers that were missing. The state INEC Reg Dr. Oliver Agundo said in a statement that the election had been rescheduled for today, Sunday, February 4, adding that the Commission discovered at the eve of the rerun that the ballot papers for 16 polling units in Jos North Basa Federal Constituency had gone missing. He also said that the matter had been referred to the security agencies for investigation. Leader of Inri Evangelical Church, Spiritual Church, Primate Elijah Ayodele has advised the Capital President, Leader of Inri Evangelical Spiritual Church, Elijah Ayodele has advised President Bola Tinubu to adopt capital punishment for anyone caught in the act of kidnapping. A statement signed by his media aide, Osho Oluwatosin, Primate Ayodele said, if the government is genuine about putting an end to the kidnapping menace, there should be immediate death of anyone guilty of kidnapping, adding that the terrorists need quick judgment in order to curb the act, but stated that if the government doesn't take actions promptly, insecurity will increase. Among the things Primate Ayodele said will happen if the government doesn't enact capital punishment for the kidnappers is the abduction of top government officials and those in the presidential villa, and stressed the need for urgent attention. Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project has advised President Bola Tinubu to direct the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Mr. Lateef Fagbemi, and appropriate anti-corruption agencies to promptly probe the allegations that $3.4 billion loan obtained from the International Monetary Fund is missing, diverted, or unaccounted for. This is coming after the 2020 annual audited report published last week by the Auditor General of the Federation document revealed that there was no document to show the movement and spending of the IMF loan, and urged him to ensure that anyone suspected to be responsible should face prosecution as appropriate if there is sufficient admissible evidence, and any missing IMF loan should be fully recovered and returned to the public treasury. In the letter by SERAP dated 3rd February 2024 and signed by SERAP Deputy Director Kolowole Oluwadare, the organization said there is a legitimate public interest in ensuring justice and accountability for the serious allegations. While important measures would end the impunity of perpetrators, according to SERAP, any failure to investigate these grave allegations, bring suspected perpetrators to justice, and recover any missing IMF loan would have serious resource allocation and exacerbate the country's debt burden, while the Auditor General recommends that the money be fully recovered and remitted to the public treasury, and those suspected to be involved are sanctioned and handed over to anti-corruption agencies. The allegations suggest a grave violation of the public trust and the provisions of the Nigerian Constitution 1999 as amended, while the country's anti-corruption legislation and international anti-corruption obligations included the UN Convention Against Corruption. Economic and Financial Crimes Commission says it has recovered over 30 billion naira from the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs under the former Minister Saadia Umar Farouk. The EFCC said the commission had also uncovered 500 million naira from the scam associated with Umar Farouk's successor Betta Edu, who was recently suspended by President Bola Tinubu. According to the report, in December, 37 billion naira was transferred from government coffers and sent to 38 different bank accounts domiciled in 5 legacy commercial banks belonging to all connected with the contractor James Okwete. And on Friday, 30 billion naira was recovered by the EFCC following the placement of a lien on the bank accounts of Umar Farouk and Okwete, who are still being grilled by the anti-graft agency's investigators. The agency is also still grilling Edu in connection with an alleged 17 billion naira fraud, while the suspended coordinator of the National Social Investment Program, Halima Shehu, is also still being questioned over an alleged 44 billion naira fraud. However, the chairman of the EFCC, Ola Olukoyede, at a dialogue in Abuja, said most of the 747 convictions involved persons who were prosecuted by cybercrime offences, adding that the Commission has deepened its probe into money laundering cases involving some high-profile public officials, especially former governors and ministers indicted for fraud. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission says he presented Its first prosecution witnessed PW1 Chibueze Chukuma, team lead, Regulatory Inquiries Unit, Access Bank against a couple, Ruth Idowu and Oriyomi Idowu, who are being prosecuted for an alleged 2.7 billion naira fraud before Justice Bonjishola Dadar of the Special Offences Court sitting in Ikeja, Lagos State. The defendants are facing 20-count charges bordering on obtaining money by false pretense, money laundering, stealing, retention of stolen property, and forgery to the tune of 2 billion naira, 757,188,000 naira. They were arraigned on Tuesday, November 28, 2023 by the Lagos Zonal Command of the EFCC alongside Food Commodity Processing Enterprise, Bonway Food Processing Company Limited, Sami Idowu Company Limited, and Farmex Integrated Companies Limited, which are all belong to Ruth Idowu. He also identified the response of the bank, which included the account opening packages and their bank account statements, while Mohammed applied to tender them in evidence against the defendants. Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors is demanding the payment of each 25,000 naira quarterly accoutrement allowance for medical and dental doctors in hospitals, medical centers, and clinics in the Federal Republic Service. A communique issued at the end of its January National Executive Council meeting and Health Summit held in Abuja from January 30th to February 3rd, 2024, with the theme Attaining Universal Health Coverage and Optimal Medical Training in the Face of a Challenging Economy. Could technology be the answer? Said in 2023, the federal government approved the payment of 25,000 of peculiar allowance for medical and dental doctors in hospitals, medical centers, and clinics in the Federal Public Service. Meanwhile, NAD, in its communique signed by its president, Dr. Dele Abdullahi, Secretary General, Dr. Anna Duaka Christopher, and Public and Social Secretary, Dr. John Egbe, said the chief medical directors and medical directors of tertiary health institutions are yet to commence payment of the approved accoutrement allowance. While commending the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory for the commencement of the payment of the reviewed CONMAS accoutrement allowance and promotion arrears to our members under its employment, the NEC said its members in Abia State University Teaching Hospital are still paid using the 2009 CONMAS salary structure and still owe the 21-month salary arrears with no house officers and postgraduate college accreditation. The group condemned the increasing rate of assault on its members in hospitals and called on the government to expedite the implementation of preferred solutions to the chronic manpower shortage and give clarity to the recent declaration of the Federal Executive Council on relief of waiver for recruitment from the head of service for prompt follow-up, while also urging the government and the Ministry of Finance to implement the upward review of the consolidated medical salary structure. You're watching the Global News on Atlantic Television Network. We'll be back after this break.
Every day, our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics,
Nobody's ambition is what's the blood.
I have fought very firmly.
natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.
People into the country illegally. That is amazing. You human trafficker.
They are not picking our calls. They made up their minds.
So no agreement with the EU, but
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring all sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today. Only on ATN.
Global News on Atlantic Television Network. Here is the rest of our story. We bring you straight up the business news for tonight. About 36 oil blocks around the concession to international oil companies operating in Nigeria and their indigenous counterparts in the country comes with the latest data from Nigeria National Petroleum Company Limited, an analysis of NNPCL's new consolidated and separate financial statement for the 16-month period ended December 31st, 2022, indicated that the blocks are located in deep water continental shelf, land swamp, and partially swamped terrains. The blocks are classified into oil prospecting license and oil mining license, and OPL is granted by the government to an applicant company registered for exploration and production purposes, while an OML is granted upon confirmation of potential for commercial production of petroleum from the license. The National Oil Company, through NEPL, also controls the different levels of interest in other oil blocks, according to figures in its latest consolidated financial statements, adding that the NNPCL as a group is in the business of prospecting, exploration, and production of crude oil and gas through various wholly owned assets, joint venture arrangements, and production sharing contracts with other companies in the industry. You're still watching the news on Atlantic Television Network. Here is the international tidbit. President Bola Tinubu has extended deep condolences to the government and people of Namibia over the passing of His Excellency President H. Jane Gob. The president, through his special advisor on media and publicity, Ajurin Gelali, said he joins in mourning the painful loss of a veteran in the struggle for democracy, and described Jane Gob as a proponent of good governance and advocate of economic, social, and political solidarity among African people. He also said the tragedy came at a time when Africa needs more visionary leaders who believe in the common destiny of the continent and who can strengthen bonds across borders and spread the tendrils of cooperation across all fields of human endeavor. Houthi says that we will respond after US and UK strike 36 targets across locations in Yemen who are back backed by Iran and started targeting commercial vessels in the Red Sea in November, disrupting global supply chains. Shipping companies have stopped using the Red Sea, which usually carries almost 15% of global seaborne trade, and are using a much longer route around southern Africa. By the Houthis say they are targeting Israeli-linked ships in solidarity with the Palestinians. However, many attacked vessels have had no connection to Israel. The UK Defence Secretary Grant Shapps has said the latest strikes were not an escalation, and the Houthis' attacks on vessels in the Red Sea were illegal and unacceptable, and the joint strikes come after the U.S. targeted 85 locations in Syria and Iraq in response to a deadly drone attack on a U.S. military base in Jordan. Russia has been releasing prisoners to fight in Ukraine for more than a year, while originally offering them a pardon and freedom after 6 months, even if they have been convicted of a violent crime. When the mass recruitment of Russian prisoners started in the summer of 2022, it was led by Yevgeny Prigozhin and the late Yevgeny Prigozhin and the head of the Wagner private military group, while prisoners were offered a clean record from full pardon and allowed to go home after 6 months on the battlefield. But Prigozhin, before he died in a plane crash in August, said that almost 50,000 Russian prisoners had been dispatched to the front line under this deal, and similar figures have been cited by human rights activists, while thousands of those prisoners died, but others, including dozens convicted of violent crimes, returned home, with some going on to re-offend and even commit murder. The Russian military took over the scheme in February 2023, initially offering the same incentives as Prigozhin, and the arrangement meant prisoners released to fight could go home after 6 months and were in a more privileged position than regular soldiers, that upset men who had been mobilized and their families. And here is entertainment news for tonight. Popular Nigerian musician and music executive Casey has accused his former signee Harrison of forging his signature to collect money from clients. This is coming weeks after Harrison called out the five-star records label managed by Casey and his brother E-Money for withholding his royalties. Casey said that Harrison has a criminal case of forging him and his brother's signature to collect money from their clients, while Harrison said he has a 5-year contract with Five-Star Records that is still running. Jasmine Okafor says her relationship with the alien actor John Okafor, popularly known as Ibu, acted as a father figure to her. He said it was recorded it was widely said that Jasmine and Mr. Ibu's son Daniel Onyabuchi were arrested in Lagos for allegedly defrauding the actor of 55 million naira. Addressing the allegations on the internet, Jasmine narrated how she met the actor. Here is sports news for tonight. 5 teams have picked the playoff ticket for the NPFL Youth League, and the teams are Rivers United, Plateau United, Remo Stars, Rangers, and Katsina United. All the teams came top of their groups following the completion of zonal playoffs across all 5 centers, while from the Ekiti Center, Remo Stars recorded 9 points in the 3 games played at the Oluyemi Kayode Stadium, while Plateau United qualified on superior goal difference from the Lafia Center. Plateau United recorded 7 points, conceding 3 goals, while Lobby Stars also have 7 points, with 5 goals conceded. And at the Kaduna Center, Katsina United garnered 7 points as against Doma United, which has 6 points. The Rental Derby clash saw Rangers secure a narrow victory against Heartland to move top of the table at the Nnamdi Azikiwe Stadium in Enugu, while in Port Harcourt, Rivers United qualified from the group with 7 points. The draw is scheduled for February 12th, while the playoffs will be played from February 13th to 17th, 2024. South Africa head coach Hugo Broos says his team is battle ready for the semi-finals clash with the Super Eagles of Nigeria. This is coming after Bafana earned a place in the last 4 after defeating Cape Verde 2-1 on penalties on Saturday night, while goalkeeper Rowan Williams became the hero as he saved 4 spot kicks. The encounter will take place at the State Dealer Pikes Park on Wednesday. And that's the global news for tonight. But before we go, here is another look at the major stories. APC wins election in Burutu North constituency in Delta State. Court indicts lawyer over alleged 91 million land fraud in Enugu State. Sarap advises Tinubu to investigate missing $3.4 billion loan, IMF loan. NNPCL gives 36 oil blocks to IOCs over concession. Let it go. Singer KC accuses Harry Sung of defrauding clients. 5 teams qualify for Youth League playoffs. I'm Vivian Douglas. Thank you for watching. You can follow us on our social media platform on X. We're Atlantic TV Net, on Instagram and TikTok. We're Atlantic TV Network 1 on Facebook, and YouTube. We're Atlantic Television Network. Remember that peace and unity are the pathway to progress. Have a good night.